Welcome to part 2 of our advanced tapping training series. Tonight we're talking about transforming limiting genetic patterns and self-sabotage into faith and right action and healing at all levels, and healing at the deepest levels within our body, incorporating conscious language, tapping techniques, and essential oils to heal our genes and our genetic expression. Now, there's been a lot of very cool research done in genetics, in genetic expression, the work of Dr. Bruce Lipton and Epigenetics, and we know that our genes can transform. We are not bound by our genes or genetic expression. We can transform them consciously by changing how we think, how we feel, and what we believe, as well as changing our environment. And so tonight I'm also going to be integrating emotions and how emotional patterns in word and in feeling are negatively affecting our genes, and maybe also how we've been born into certain emotional patterns. So a quick overview of our lessons tonight. First, I'm going to review our last class. I'm going to talk about what we learned in part 1 of advanced tapping trainings. Then I'm going to talk about how limiting genetic patterns and how diseases, genetic propensities towards disease, how that energy is transferred in the body at conception, at birth, at bonding, fusion, and also how this is connected to the wisdom of Chinese medicine. And the Chinese understood a lot of what was passed down from our lineage and our parents. The third part of this class is going to be about essential oil chemistry, just going over some basic essential oil singles and blends that amplify genetic transformation with tapping. Using oils with tapping can be a very powerful synergy, not only for deep emotional transformation, but also when you learn the chemistry of essential oils, you're going to learn how they work at a cellular level to upgrade our DNA. Finally, the last 2 parts of the class, we're going to talk about 3 primary genetic patterns and emotional states that may be chronic or kind of stuck in our life, repeating over and over again. And your greatest weakness shall be your greatest strength. So whatever you came in with, let's say you came in with sadness and grief and alcoholism and depression in your family, you can transform that weakness into your strength and become full of joy and expression in your life. And so I'm going to talk about 3 patterns, what the common disease states are, and then how to upgrade them. And then finally, we're going to blend in some tapping. We're going to do some tapping on some of these patterns when it's appropriate in the class tonight. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate everyone who's attending tonight, everyone who's watching right now. You can join inside the Hangout live by clicking on the link in your email. And there's a special link that we sent out to you where you can actually participate inside the Hangout. If you click on that link to join live with me, I can work with you one-on-one as your coach. So it's really awesome to jump inside the Hangout tonight and work with me. If you don't make it inside the Hangout tonight for live coaching with me, you can schedule a coaching session. I'm going to have an offer at the end of our class tonight where I can work with you one-on-one, identifying repeating patterns, limiting beliefs, genetic patterns, and how we start to upgrade those consciously in real time using tapping, conscious breath, and essential oils. So, welcome. This class is on transforming limiting genetic patterns and self-sabotage into your victory of healing, faith, right action, and healing at the deepest levels. In our last class, we talked about self-acceptance being the master key. So it's really important as you start tapping on yourself to touch, heal, and transform limiting emotions and repeating patterns, that you love and accept yourself just the way you are. Let it be okay. Whatever you're feeling in the moment, whatever's coming up for love and clearing, self-acceptance is the master key. It's really, really vital. One of the laws of energy is that what you resist persists. So if you can't let it be okay, if you're frustrated about sadness, if you're pissed about your anger, if you feel stuck about constipation, you're not going to move that energy pattern. First, accept it. Let it be okay. Wrap your arms around the emotion, like giving your own child self a hug and saying, it's okay, love this and let it go. Now the cool thing about EFT and tapping techniques is EFT and tapping accelerate the okayness, because as we're tapping these meridian points in the body, as we're using our hands to touch these points, we're actually transforming energetic blockages in the meridians. We're opening up these rivers of light and thought and word and feeling, and that can accelerate self-acceptance just by the kinesthetic response of tapping. So tapping works when you work it. Tapping is a technology that does directly create neurotransmitter and neuropeptide response, but it also helps your emotional body, your feeling body receive that pulse of love. Every tapping is like pulsing, telling your body it's okay. And I invite everyone who's watching right now, say it's okay.
It's okay.
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
Just the way I am.
Just the way I am.
I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself.
Just the way I am.
Just the way I am.
Those words represent self-acceptance, compassion for self, and a willingness to move that stuck energy pattern, moving from stuck to clear, anger into compassion, grief into joy and happiness and expression. Self-acceptance is the master key. Number 2, to transform genetic patterns. What's really important when we're transforming genetic patterns is to see perfection. What do I mean by that? Know what every pattern turns into, so you can have your eyes and your heart on the target of the full return of sadness into happiness and joy, anger through forgiveness, through compassion, resentment into forgiveness, kindness, and mercy, irritation into tolerance and peace, fear into faith, doubt into courage and certainty and self-trust. When you know what emotions turn into and you can see perfection, then your genes through tapping and your biochemistry can change faster, easier, better when you know what it turns into. Last class, we talked about creating instantaneous healing in the body. And so when our genes are changing their expression, they're creating instantaneous healing. Now, this is a very advanced class tonight. What I'm sharing with you is super high-level stuff. To fully grok this material and understand it is going to take a little while. You may not fully grok or comprehend everything I'm teaching you tonight. The class is a distillation of 15 years of what I've learned in advanced energy psychology, working with some of the finest practitioners in the world, and my mentor, Robert Tennyson Stevens, in conscious language. So a lot of what I'm going to teach you, I learned through this system of conscious language and sacred body language. And I've experienced it in me. I have experienced genetic transformation in my own body, pictured in iridology through pictures of my eyes. So I've had dozens of eye photos taken, and my eyes have literally changed from brown to green to blue. And what that basically denotates is that when fiber structure is reappearing, when fibers lighten and brighten, when eye color is changing in the eye, that's a genetic transformation. And that's supposedly impossible in iridology. But my teacher, Bob Stevens, the advanced work of iridology that he's been doing, we now can scientifically prove genetic transformation in the body through before and after photos of our eyes. And so I have been going through this, and I'm so excited to share this with you tonight because I've experienced this. This is real-time, powerful, powerful information for you to be able to identify what's acting in your family and your lineage, and how scientifically, energetically, biologically, how does your greatest weakness become your greatest strength? You know, if you've had a pattern of sadness and diabetes and just extreme emotional overwhelm in your family, what are you here to touch and transform related to that pattern? This is so rich. And understanding this is pretty advanced. Doing it is easy. And why do I say that? Because all of us have thoughts and feelings. And when we can reverse a pattern, remember to reverse a pattern, which means to re-say. If we know a pattern is acting in our genes and in our life, we can reverse that pattern by re-saying it. We can use tapping and essential oils to amplify the reversal. And in that reversal experience, there is a powerful metamorphosis that happens. And it's easy. Why? Because we can all speak through and reverse everything with conscious language. And where the rubber meets the road is feeling, is coming into subconscious alignment. and really lining up those 3 levels of the self. The last training we talked about your 3 levels of yourself and aligning subconscious, conscious, and superconscious. When these come into full alignment, that's when instantaneous healing is happening. And guess what? That's also when your genes are changing and transforming. I've witnessed this. My wife Crystal's witnessed this. All of our high-level coaches and mentors see this in the eyes. And it's just powerful, powerful, powerful stuff. So self-acceptance is the master key. See perfection. See what's returning in the person you're working with. So if you're a coach and you're watching this, and you see someone working with the pattern of I can't, it's hard, or struggle, and sadness or grief, you know joy is returning. I can is returning. And your job as a coach is to empower I can, if it's I can't, and to empower the return of their full happiness and joy, if it's sadness. And as they feel I can with conscious language, as they feel happier and more joyful with conscious language, there is a genetic transformation. And I'm going to go into a little bit now of the work of Bruce Lipton epigenetics, because we know that the genes are the blueprint, and they're a divine blueprint, but they're malleable because the environment of the cell is interfacing with the DNA. And we now know in epigenetics that the cellular environment, when it changes and upgrades, changes the DNA and the genetic expression. This is a scientific fact. So all the stuff they've been teaching in Western medicine about genes being like set in stone is now not true. We need to update all of our manuals and all of our books. Just type in Bruce Lipton epigenetics into YouTube, and you can watch some amazing scientific understanding that changing the cellular environment, meaning the fluid around the cell, changes the genes. So what does that mean in regards to tapping, words, conscious language, and essential oils? So all 3 of these technologies increase and transform our cellular environment. Tapping in essential oils changes the chemistry of the body by releasing neuropeptides, neurotransmitters, and hormones in a positive expression, which then floods our cells. And if we have a gene related to diabetes or cancer or cholesterol or detoxification pathways, you better believe you can change that gene by changing what you believe and what you feel, because the cellular environment is washed in thoughts and emotions. 95% of all of your hormones, neurotransmitters, neuropeptides, of that family of ligands, 95% are neuropeptides. Neuropeptides are the molecules of emotion. So when you change what you think and feel through tapping and through conscious language, it's changing the cellular environment of your cells, which is then increasing a transfer of positive energy into the DNA and transforming the genes. So this is the coolest thing. This is why just like changing the environment of your house changes how you think and feel. So just think of it that way. Like if your house is cluttered, it's going to create clutteredness in your cells. But if you clean up your environment of your home and you bring order to your home, it changes how you think and feel in your body. The same is true with thoughts and emotions. We get cluttered in too many thoughts and suppressed feelings. We want to clear those out, change the cellular environment, and transform our genetic expression consciously. One of the things to recognize when we're healing genetic patterns, consciousness wakes up consciously. So it's not just enough to like say an affirmation. It's not enough to use an essential oil. We want to integrate affirmations and oils and tapping and feel deeply the conscious transformation in our bodies real time, because that conscious pattern genetically is waking up consciously, which is why it's important to see perfection and to know what it turns into, and to go all the way from fear into faith, from resentment into forgiveness. And these tools I'm going to share with you tonight are lubricants. They're helping you along the way. So now it brings us to the question, how do genetic patterns transfer into our biological blueprint? Why are we born with certain patterns and repeating patterns that can cause disease genetically? Well, I want to explain something first in Chinese medicine called Jing. And Jing is stored in our kidneys, and it's also related to the regenerative essence of our body. It's like the wax in your candle. So your Jing has 2 aspects. It has prenatal Jing and adaptive Jing. So in Chinese medicine, they knew that the mother and father, at the moment of love, and with the moment the sperm and egg combine, the Jing of the mother, the prenatal Jing of the mother, and the prenatal gene of the father is joining together, just like that yin and yang symbol, and creating life. And so all of the thoughts, feelings, emotions, and experiences of their life, holographically, is merging together at the moment of conception. And so if the mother and father have limiting genetic patterns, that's being transferred into the child through the prenatal gene. Now, we're not victims of that pattern. We can change it. But we do come into life with a certain distillation of mother and father's genetic patterns through the prenatal gene, and from conception to birth, there's another transfer of genetic energy from the thoughts and feelings of mom. So if mom had a very stressful birth, she flooded her body with negative neurotransmitters and neuropeptides. That can affect the gestation, first trimester, second trimester, third trimester. Now, if a mother had a very healthy, happy, easy birth, lots of rest, lots of fresh food and nourishment and healthy emotional expression.
Birth or pregnancy?
Gestation, so not birth, but pregnancy. So if your mom had a very healthy pregnancy, and all of the environment and her internal environment, her inner ecosystem and her outer ecosystem was healthy and harmonious, then that is going to transfer genetically. And then the moment of birth is another powerful transfer for genetic expression. And unfortunately, 90% of births are traumatic today, and so we have those genetic patterns that we're addressing. And, oops.
What happened?
Stand by, I need to turn the camera back on.
Not bad. Just click on the red little box up there.
All right, pardon me, I just paused my camera there. So we have prenatal gene, the moment of conception, is basically lining up 23 chromosomes from mom, 23 chromosomes from dad. All those patterns are stored within DNA. The baby begins to grow. There's a transfer of energy from mom. At birth, bonding and fusion, there's another transfer, an either upgrade or a limitation programmed into the genes. So this is how limiting genetic patterns and energy can transfer into us. It's been said, our greatest weakness shall be our greatest strength. So if you have limiting patterns trapped in your genetic expression, the weakness can and will transform. It's not your weakness might be your greatest strength, not your weakness hopefully will be your greatest strength. Your greatest weakness shall be your greatest strength when you know what these patterns turn into, when you can identify chronic fear patterns or sadness patterns or shame is also a common genetic pattern that's global. And these patterns upgrade. When you know what they turn into, you can transform them consciously by the tools I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. Remember, as we're tapping the body, what we're doing is we're lowering cortisol and we're increasing positive neurotransmitter and neuropeptide production. And when we're leveraging maybe some essential oils, that's changing the environment of our cells, which is changing the genetic expression. It's so cool. Such a rich concept. Now, I want to talk a little bit about, now that we understand about self-acceptance, now we understand about seeing perfection, now we know that genes by our environment can change their expression through the work of epigenetics and changing how our cells are communicating with each other and how our consciousness is communicating with ourselves. Now it's time to talk a little bit about essential oil chemistry, because I love essential oils. They've been integral tools in my own genetic transformation, and what I'm going to be teaching you now comes a little bit from this book, The Chemistry of Essential Oils, and a lot of my work with Dr. Gary Young and Young Living Essential Oils over 15 years. So I have thousands of hours of training in my head on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual properties of essential oils. So I want to talk a little bit about the chemistry of essential oils and how we can use oils with tapping to amplify our genetic transformation. Because sometimes when we're in a stuck pattern or a struggle pattern, the application of the oil before we tap can be magic. And I'm going to explain to you, it's not only magical through the breath and the relaxation response, applying essential oils are magical at a cellular level. So essential oils and the chemistry of essential oils are made of 7 main chemical compounds. One of these compounds are known as sesquiterpenes. And so there's monoterpenes and aldehydes and esters and alcohols and ketones. Sesquiterpenes in essential oils have been scientifically documented to stimulate the pituitary and pineal glands, which are the master glands for all the neurotransmitter and neuropeptide production in the body. So when we're using essential oils topically, it's also oxygenating the brain and the pituitary and pineal glands. That's one thing that they do to help transform genetic expression. Another thing essential oils can do is when we put them on our skin, when we diffuse them and breathe them in, when we ingest them, they enter our body at a cellular level instantaneously. They don't require digestion. So essential oils can pass the plasma membrane of the cell and directly begin to upgrade our DNA. And they do. The essential oils are 500 times smaller in molecular size than the cell membrane. So we know essential oils penetrate the cell and change the mitochondria and DNA function of the cell. Now imagine when we bring conscious language into that, an emotional freedom technique, and we're using the oils. Those oils carry the prayer through the sesquiterpenes and all the other chemistry. They carry that prayer into the cells, and they're literally accelerating DNA upgrade and transformation. So I want to bring up a little chart of some oils that we can use for reversing genetic patterns. Now my wife Chris and I did some just meditation and contemplation tonight, and we looked at a lot of the oils rich in sesquiterpenes and some readily available oils in Young Living that you can use right now for your tapping techniques. And so what I recommend you do is you just start with frankincense. Frankincense, either the red bottle or the brown bottle. Now the red bottle is Boswellia carteri, the brown bottle is Boswellia sacra. And you can combine frankincense with a little bit of lavender or ylang ylang or balsam fir. Another wonderful oil is sandalwood and balsam fir. So the frankincense and sandalwood are rich in sesquiterpenes. And the sesquiterpenes oxygenate the pineal and pituitary. The sesquiterpenes also penetrate the cell membrane and to help upgrade our DNA. And so the reason I added balsam fir is because it smells good. It's one of my favorite smells of all the 400 oils I've worked with. I really enjoy this aroma for courage, confidence, and clarity of direction, moving from stuck to clear. The sandalwood is a very thick oil, so when you're working with sandalwood, which is a very powerful oil for the brain and the emotional healing, sandalwood and frankincense and myrrh and cedarwood, they help repair damaged DNA in the body. And we see this even on the skin, using them topically. But using them in tapping, you can put a few drops of sandalwood on the hand, followed with 2 to 3 drops of balsam fir, stir to activate, and then apply the oils on the tapping points. And then end at the ears. Now why do I say the ears? Because the ears are very powerful. Look at me, I kind of look funny when I do this. So the ears are really wonderful portals of entry for essential oils for emotional and genetic transformation. So work with the ears as well as the tapping points. And so frankincense, sandalwood, balsam fir are top 3 oils to begin exploring the tapping. Blends you can use are 3 wise men. This is a blend of sandalwood, frankincense, and myrrh, the 3 highest level sesquiterpene oils, particularly sandalwood and myrrh. Also, Sacred Mountain. This is a blend of 3 trees and a flower. Wonderful blend for transforming fear into faith, anxiety into peace of mind. Also, it's very grounding, so it helps with, the energies of shame and guilt or even resentment. So Sacred Mountain is a very universal blend. Trauma Life. Trauma Life is one of my favorite oils for all deep traumas and all really deep fear patterns, deep shame patterns in the body. Trauma Life is very powerful. And anyone who's been using Young Living Trauma Life, people will love it or hate it. If they hate it, they've got some emotions they need to clear. If they love it, they're pretty clear. Also, Sarah.
Or they're already ready for the transformation.
Or they're already ready for the transformation. That's what Crystal, say hi, Crystal.
Hi, Crystal.
Say hi. So Crystal said they're already ready for the transformation. So Sarah is a wonderful blend for healing abuse and trauma and feeling like a victim, feeling like you've been betrayed, having deep hate and criticism and judgment. And Sarah's just Sarah's actually one of my favorite blends for emotional transformation. And then finally, White Angelica is a blend of over a dozen essential oils, and it has a very broad spectrum of healing properties for genetic and emotional upgrades and transformation. So the blends are more powerful than the singles because the blends have a diversity of chemistry, and so they're going to stimulate the cellular environment and change it faster. And they also have a diversity of frequency and vibration, so through the aroma and the vibration, essential oil blends are always more powerful for emotional release and genetic release than singles. It doesn't make them better, it just makes them a little bit more powerful because of the diversity of the frequencies in biochemistry. So these are some essential oils to play with. Essential oils are so awesome to use and incorporate in genetic transformation, and through the work I've done on myself with my clients, the research I've done with Dr. David Stewart and the Chemistry of Essential Oils, God's Love Manifest in Molecules, awesome book to learn about quantum physics and essential oils. The first half of the book is for science dorks. The last half of the book is all about the effect of quantum mechanics and how essential oils transform consciousness at a cellular level. And so I encourage you to incorporate essential oils into your tapping, into your healing, and also into your service with other people. You will literally witness miracles. You will witness instantaneous shifts in people when they start applying the oils and breathing them in. And you now know that the chemistry, the sesquiterpenes of the oils, is moving through the cell membrane and directly stimulating the DNA and mitochondria of the cells. And so it can be very powerful. So now we're going to shift into major genetic patterns and what they turn into. And so we've laid a foundation of self-acceptance, seeing perfection, knowing that our greatest weakness shall be our greatest strength, knowing that we can use oils to touch and transform more deeply and more powerfully. If you have questions, type them in below the video if you're watching at a future date, or type them into the chat roll somewhere up inside. Yeah, that way. Type your questions in the chat roll, and I'll get to them live during the class, the webinar today, or just type them in the chat roll and I'll answer them later. So I'm going to be offering some private coaching too. So as we understand this, I can, as your coach, I can guide you in real time through advanced tapping techniques to help you repair your own limiting beliefs and genetic patterns and really move you from process to outcome. A lot of people struggle with certain patterns around fear, sadness, not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough, shame, guilt, always feeling the need to help others because you didn't do it right the first time, guilt, not feeling accepting of yourself or always helping others. So these repeating patterns, they're connected sometimes experientially and genetically. And so let's say, for example, sadness, grief, and depression. So if we're working with, thank you, we have an overlay here. So if we're working with sadness, grief, and depression, that manifests as a genetic propensity for diabetes, alcoholism. When we use alcohol, we're stuffing our feelings, we're going numb to what we feel, and it's suppressing usually grief or anger. And so if we have a history of diabetes and alcoholism and addiction in our family lineage, that will also manifest as these diseases, these emotions of sadness and grief. The other pattern I choose to share a little bit tonight is anger, hate, and resentment. So you're probably asking yourself, man, can I really be born with feelings of anger and hate? Or the propensity to judge and criticize others? Yes, I've seen it in my coaching. My wife has seen it in her coaching.
And in my life.
And in her life. Crystal has upgraded massively in her life to mercy, kindness, and compassion when there has been anger and hate in her, particularly mother's side of the family. Hating men, codependence with men, not feeling good enough and worthy in their relationship with their husband, passed down from mother to mother to mother, And then now Crystal transforming anger and hate through forgiveness, into compassion, authorship, authority, claiming authority for her own personal power. So a lot of anger, hate, and resentment will manifest as cancer and heart issues, sometimes heart disease, because the heart expresses love. When we hate, we actually shut down the heart, which is thymus, and then we shut down the immune system, which then can eventually manifest as cancer. So when we look at these genetic patterns of either heart disease or cancer in the family, it takes years and years and years of emotions to store in the genes to manifest as these diseases. But we can change it in an instant. We can repair it and upgrade it in one tapping session. So I'm here to tell you, you are not a victim of your genetic patterns. If you have any of these conditions in your family lineage, you can and you will heal it when you begin to understand what all of these turn into. Anger and hate are not easy to identify and first let be okay. It's not easy to let hate be okay, or to even identify that you may have hate, that you may be judging, hating another in your family or in your relationships. But once you can identify that and love it, and love hate, let it be okay, you can transform it through forgiveness into authority, into mercy and compassion. And so flipping these emotions and using tapping and essential oils, a really good oil we mentioned for anger and hate would be frankincense or trauma life or Sarah, using those oils for these emotions. And so cancer and heart disease are common diseases related to anger, hate, and resentment. Cancer is caused from toxic relationships so toxic it's killing the person. And when you look at every person healing and reversing cancer, they're healing their relationship, they're healing what's between the person, and that toxic relationship often manifests as resentment. And through forgiveness, forgiveness is the most powerful medicine for cancer. Forgiveness is the most powerful medicine for our hearts, our livers, and our gallbladder. And we can reverse these patterns through tapping and emotional freedom and some essential oils. So we've talked about sadness and grief. We've talked about anger, hate, and resentment as genetic patterns that can be passed down. The final one I want to address, and what I really want to focus on tonight for our class, because this is the most important pattern to identify and transform first, and all the way until it's completely cleared, and which may last a lot. It may take you a lifetime to clear and heal your shame. Shame is the feeling of I'm not worthy and I'm not good enough. And shame, how many of you watching right now, I'm going to ask you a very direct and honest question, and listen to me very closely. Is it easy for you to ask for what you want and desire in your life? Do you feel completely secure and safe to go ask your partner for intimacy and love, to go ask the universe for money, to go build your dreams? Is it easy, do you feel 100% secure to ask for what you desire and you want in life? How much money do you want? Do you want love? Do you want the relationship of your dreams? Do you want to build a successful life and business? If the answer is no, that behind the no is shame, the feeling of unworthiness. So if it's not easy for you to ask for what you want in life and to go out and claim it and have it, then shame is behind that. Now guess what? Most people you know, including myself, have some degree of shame that they're upgrading. And this is a very common genetic pattern, particularly if you have mother or father with low self-esteem, extremely low self-esteem, and they're always judging and criticizing themselves. So if there's a lot of judgment, criticism, and condemnation, either inward or outward, behind that, underneath that, deeply is shame. If there was a lot of poverty issues around money and supply and fear of lack, like always struggling with the bills, your family was always struggling with money conversations, that's also deeply rooted in shame. Because guess what? When you heal shame, you feel worthy and you go and you make money. You go and you value yourself and you value what you do, you charge for what you do, you create value in the world, And as you value yourself and create value in the world, the shame begins to lift. So this is not something you will fully grok or comprehend and right as I'm telling you this. If this is new information for you, shame is something to tap on a lot. Shame is something to touch and transform and upgrade. And it's something to do with repetition until you start taking action through self-worth and self-acceptance. And there's these, as you begin to take more action in your life and heal your shame, all these upgrades begin to happen very powerfully. Shame is a very common genetic pattern. It's also known in spiritual traditions as the original sin. And so it's definitely in our genes. It's here to be upgraded. You deserve to feel worthy. You deserve to have money, intimacy, relationships, joy, abundance, thriving businesses, beautiful careers. All of that, when it manifests, is you healing the shame, fully upgrading it. Everyone repeat after me, I am worthy.
I am worthy
Of having love.
of having love.
I can be loved.
I can be loved.
I am worthy of love.
I am worthy of love.
I can have buckets and buckets of money.
I can have buckets and buckets of money.
I am worthy of having lots of money.
I am worthy of having lots of money.
I am worthy of abundance.
I am worthy of abundance.
Repeat after me, I am a rich child of a loving divine Father.
I am a rich child of a loving and divine Father.
That's worthiness. That's having. No shame exists in that statement when you can feel the meaning of those words. So shame and guilt are two sides of a coin. Guilt also comes with shame. Shame also comes with guilt. And that tends to get stuck in the second chakra, which is small intestine, sex organs. So remember that the prenatal gene. So a lot of us may have been conceived in shame or guilt. And that's being transferred through the sex organs and through the gene of the ova and the sperm. And that can get stuck in the small and large intestine and also the ovaries or the testes. So what we're looking at is digestive challenges, autoimmune challenges, problems with digestion, or problems with your immune system, autoimmune dysfunction, as well as sometimes infection in the body. Also depression. If you don't feel worthy of having love, having money, having intimacy and beautiful relationships, you're going to be depressed. And there's chemical depressions and spiritual depressions. And so shame can cause both chemical depressions and spiritual depressions. People who have a chemical imbalance through shame, and they start taking antidepressants, it's just covering the shame. And they're not fixing it. But guess what? With tapping, you can fix it. You can begin to upgrade this feeling of shame. Finally, arthritis can be rooted in shame. Arthritis, according to work of Louise Hayes, is not feeling loved by someone you care about. Arthritis is blaming another for not loving you the way you want them to. Rooted in codependence. And so with blame and shame, blame is also another side of shame. So when we feel shame and we don't feel worthy of being loved, and yet we have a husband that's not loving us the way we want, we can blame our husband for not loving us. But that's rooted in shame. And so a lot of arthritis, blame, shame. So these are the physiological effects of these emotional patterns that all have genetic roots. And when we tap, remember, while we're tapping these points, we're lowering cortisol. We're also increasing neurotransmitter production, neuropeptide production. And so if we want to feel a feeling and begin to tap on that feeling, we can shift that feeling in real time. So if there's anyone on the call who'd like to experience some real-time coaching and tapping, we can go ahead and work with the person right now. And let me know if if you have any of these patterns in your family. And we can work on this right now. If not, we're going to go ahead and tap on shame and use that as a universal anchor or emotional pattern and flip it. So I'll wait a couple seconds.
So you'll be tapping on what we see in our family.
Yeah.
Patterns we see in our family.
Yeah. So there's just patterns we see in our family and in us around sadness or grief, around anger or resentment, around shame. We can do some tapping in this live in real time.
Or even if like heart disease runs in your family.
Yeah. Then there may have been stress around love issues, and that stress could be sadness or hate, sadness or anger. So, when we're healing the heart and we're healing like hate or anger or sadness or stress around relationships, sometimes when we're upgrading our genetic patterns, we also may be healing this in our mom and dad. And so my wife and I have experienced this so much in our deep emotional work and spiritual development. When we upgrade patterns in ourselves, it's sometimes a pattern we witnessed or experienced in our parents, and it's now moving through us to be healed. This is also connected to the concept that in Scripture it says the sins of our ancestors are visited upon 4 future generations, meaning if we were born with a hateful or critical mom and dad, we are here to forgive and choose compassion and then fix that pattern so that we don't pass it to the next generation and the next generation. So this is the opportunity we all have to allow. Everyone say, I allow.
I allow.
This opportunity to allow this pattern to upgrade and transform through us. Tapping is a tool to make it easy. Applying essential oils empower the prayer of forgiveness or joy or the prayer of faith if it's fear up. And so we have sadness, we have anger, we have shame. And so let's do some tapping on shame.
We can do that. I can volunteer. There's definitely arthritis in my family. Unless you'd like, we can do a group.
Yeah, let's do a group.
Okay.
So we're going to do just some simple tapping on shame. I'm not good enough. I don't feel good enough. I don't feel worthy. And so the way we can engage in emotion is by naming it. One of the keys in the last webinar I talked about, you got to name it before you can change it. And so a really good way to initiate the feeling of shame is to actually say something out loud that's negative. But remember, you named it before you change it. So everyone repeat after me. I don't feel good enough.
I don't feel good enough.
I don't feel worthy.
I don't feel worthy.
Yeah. I can't be loved.
I can't be loved.
I don't feel worthy.
I don't feel worthy.
I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough.
So notice as you say those words, you may feel tension somewhere in your body.
So we're not programming those in. We're just feeling what they do.
Yes, we're not programming these in because we're going to tap on this, and anything that's up is going to clear right now. So as we say these words, say it again. I can't be loved.
I can't be loved.
I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough.
I don't feel worthy.
I don't feel worthy.
I feel shame.
I feel shame.
Notice where you feel that in your body. When I say those words, my actual lower intestines start to tighten. So the first thing is to name it before you can change it. The second part is to feel the feeling in your body. Where do you feel, I'm not good enough? I don't feel worthy. I can't be loved. I'm not loved. I feel shame. So I feel shame. Tap right here. And just start tapping the cardiac point and repeat after me. Even though I feel shame.
Even though I feel shame.
I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough.
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
love and accept myself.
Love and accept myself.
Just the way I am.
Just the way I am.
I can feel my feelings.
I can feel my feelings.
I can love the shame.
I can love the shame.
And let it go.
And let it go.
Tap right here on top of the head. Even though I feel shame.
Even though I feel shame.
In my body.
In my body.
And notice where you feel it in your body. Where's the tension? Even though I feel the shame.
Even though I feel shame.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I'm okay.
I am okay.
I can love this and let it go.
I can love this and let it go.
Now, as you're tapping on shame, keep tapping right here. Come down here to the eyes.
Okay, keep tapping here.
Keep tapping here on the eyes.
No.
Switch from the head to the eyes. And feel the feeling in your mother or father of their unworthiness. Feel the feelings and experience the memories of when you were in the womb or when you were 1 year old, 2 years old, of your mom or dad not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough, holding themselves back. Feel those feelings and notice what changes in your body as I'm stirring things up a little bit. We're going to tap those out. So repeat after me. My mom's shame.
My mom's shame.
My dad's shame.
My dad's shame.
Even though my mom and dad feel shame.
Even though my mom and dad feel shame.
I deeply and completely
love
and accept myself.
Love and accept myself.
Tap side of the eyes. And I love and accept my mom and dad.
And I love and accept my mom and dad.
Just the way they are.
Just the way they are.
Under the eyes. I love and accept me.
I love and accept me.
Just the way I am.
Just the way I am.
Take a deep breath in. I can heal all of this shame in my mind and body.
I can heal all the shame in my mind and body.
I let it go.
I let it go.
Under the nose, I give myself permission to fully heal
I give myself permission to fully heal
any and all shame.
any and all shame.
I love and honor my dad
I love and honor my dad
and my mom.
and my mom.
I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I am worthy.
My mom and dad is worthy.
My mom and dad are worthy.
I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I can heal all of this in my mind and body.
I can heal all of this in my mind and body.
And let it go.
And let it go.
Because I am worthy.
Because I am worthy.
And my mom and dad is worthy.
And my mom and dad are worthy.
Yes, I am worthy.
I am worthy.
And my mom and dad are worthy.
And my mom and dad are worthy.
And now it's time to say, worthy of what? What specifically are your mom and dad worthy of? Worthy of having money, of having love, of having intimacy, of having joy, of having healthy relationships, of having abundance, of having resources and supply.
Fully receiving love.
And fully receiving love. That was Crystal's upgrade right there. So you get to ask yourself, what is your mom and dad worthy of having? What are you worthy of having right here, right now? Repeat after me. I am worthy.
I am worthy.
Of having my money.
Of having my money.
Of having abundant supply and money.
Of having abundant supply and money.
Tap right here. I am worthy.
I am worthy.
Of receiving love.
Of receiving love.
I can be loved.
I can be loved.
Just the way I am.
Just the way
I am worthy of being loved.
I am worthy.
I am worthy of having love, great love.
I am worthy of having great love.
Tap right here. My mom and dad are worthy.
My mom and dad are worthy.
Now take 3 deep breaths and just keep saying, my mom and dad are worthy.
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 Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Another deep breath in. Exhale. One final breath. Deep breath in. Slow exhale. Now, stop tapping. Just rub your hands together and repeat after me. It is done.
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 And so be it.
And so be it.
And so it
And
is.
so it is.
I am worthy
I am worthy
of receiving great love and money.
receiving great love and money.
I am worthy of receiving.
I am worthy of receiving.
I am worthy of having.
I am worthy of having.
I am worthy of receiving love.
I am worthy of receiving.
Yeah, and my wife Crystal's getting emotional right now because this is emotional. Like, worthiness is where the rubber meets the road for all of your dreams to come true. Worthiness is where the rubber meets the road for you to go out and communicate exactly to your partner what you desire and require in your relationship. I want love. Hey, honey, let's have sex. Hey, honey, let's go start this business. Hey, honey, let's build our dreams. I mean, all of that is built on the feeling of I am worthy to communicate what I want and what I require.
Hey, honey, let's cuddle.
Hey, honey, let's cuddle.
And have meaningful communication.
And have it, hey, honey, I desire and require this in our relationship. That's worthiness. You know, and I deserve lots of money and successful business and career. All of that comes from worthiness. And so if you want to amplify this healing of shame, I recommend Sarah or Trauma Life. And applying these oils to yourself or to those you're working with and helping them use the oils on the tapping points and breathing in these frequencies that are so powerful to bring in the sweetness and the purity and the love and the worthiness of our true self, and to actually stimulate the pituitary and pineal glands and the brain of the body, the limbic system of the body, to create neurotransmitters, neuropeptides of worthiness. Because right now, as we just did that tapping technique, tapping sequence, a change happened in your body. I felt it in me. I know you felt something shift in you, and my wife also shifted. And so as we're tapping and using the oils of Trauma Life or Sarah, we're actually creating a positive cascade of neuropeptides, which are 95% of all the family of hormones and ligands, and that's washing our cells and the cell membranes as they're interfacing with the genetic expression in our DNA. That environment of our cells is changing the DNA. It's so cool. It's so rich. Now, what if you've had a genetic pattern of sadness or grief and depression that goes back 4, 7, 20 generations? When I work with people in Scotland or Ireland, they have a genetic pattern of sadness and grief that goes back to Great Britain and the dominating forces of Great Britain and the suppression and oppression they experienced. So that's like 400 years, approximately 300 to 400 years of sadness and grief, of not having the joy of expressing what they want in life. And so if you have a deep groove subconsciously of grief or anger and a deep groove genetically, it may take 4, 8, 12, 20 tapping sessions to fully touch and transform the entire pattern.
And to understand it.
And to fully comprehend it and feel it again. Remember, when we go from suppressed to expressed, we go from subconscious to conscious. So tapping is a way for us to identify what is suppressed and express it. And we don't always express the full pattern in the first session. So if it's a very large negative charge or a very strong limiting belief, what my teacher Bob has taught me through conscious language is it takes 4x. So if it's 1x negative charge, 4x in the positive to fully grab that pattern by the root. Like if sadness is a weed in your spiritual garden, we want to grab the entire weed by the root, pull it up, love the sadness into joy, and transform that full genetic pattern. And it may take 30 or 60 days of right action and tapping to do that, because it's a negative neural pathway. So this is where coaching comes in. This is where it's really important to have a coach who can help you touch what is untouchable and love what is unlovable.
And identify the root.
And identify the root and be able to go back into the physical pattern, the emotional pattern, the genetic pattern, and really, in a way, hold your hand all the way through into the victory of your joy, the victory of your forgiveness, the victory of your feeling worthy again for your life here and now. And so I have a very special offer to everyone who's watching tonight. Anyone who's watching, some of you are already my clients, and so you know the power of tapping and essential oils. Very, very cool integration of tools. If you've not received a coaching session from me, my normal rates are $250 per session, and I normally don't do sessions, single sessions. My wife calls them onesies. I normally don't do onesies, but for anyone watching tonight, if you'd like to do a one-on-one onesie with me, I will offer a one-time coaching session for $150 so you can experience powerful conscious language, sacred body language, EFT, and if you have oils present, you'll use essential oils. Now, my coaching that we do is through the same environment, Google Hangout, where I work with you in conscious languaging, in body languaging, and in deep emotional, profound transformation. So one of the easiest windows for me to help you transform a genetic pattern is through a system called Sacred Body Language Translations. So if you have a symptom like chronic neck pain, or chronic digestive problems, or lower back pain, or problems with your knees, any of those symptoms, I can translate those, and it may be connected to a genetic pattern. Sometimes it's experiential. Either way, you're going to experience profound healing and upgrades. So I encourage anyone who's watching this video to contact me. We'll send you an email tomorrow, and just contact me, and I'm happy to work with you one-on-one so you can experience the integration of conscious language, tapping, and aromatherapy, and body language, and really helping upgrade your life. Our life is a hero's journey, where our greatest weakness shall be our greatest strength. I have witnessed so many miracles of healing. Our life is a hero's journey, where our greatest weakness shall be our greatest strength. It takes courage to do this work, and I really respect and admire everyone watching this. If you're watching this video right now, you're choosing to dive deeper. You're choosing to go into the depths of your subconscious, which is like an invisible ocean. And if you're ready to upgrade genetic patterns, it takes courage. I am courageous for actually changing my eye color and doing this work. And I am courageous for helping people touch hate with love and forgive, to touch shame, to heal diabetes and depression and sadness. You are courageous to do this work, and you are a hero, in a sense, for this emotional healing and transformation. This is a hero's journey we're on to transform our genetic patterns. This is a hero's journey to upgrade these limiting genetic patterns into our strength returning. Sadness shall be joy, happiness. Depression shall be calm, expression, and getting in flow again with spirit. And a lot of people who have depression have lost their sense of purpose and direction in life. So when we transform depression, we move into a purpose-driven life again. We wake up spiritual purpose in ourselves. If we have resentment and chronic resentment, which shows up as joint problems, kidney problems, adrenal problems, resentment shall be forgiveness. We are here to forgive and forgive and forgive and keep giving so much love that resentment is wiped clean from our genes. The resentment will no longer be passed down to our children because we have forgiven and we have forgotten. And now we choose mercy, compassion, and love and kindness forever, continuously in our life. We become bodhisattvas of mercy, kindness, and compassion. We become little radical practitioners of forgiveness and compassion for anything that might bug us in our life, any relationships. Forgiveness liberates our hearts and it heals all wounds in all relationships. And so some of that may be genetic. And if there's shame, if there's a feeling of unworthiness, if you feel shame, you are here to be valued, to be loved, and to have and receive and be all that you desire in God. All you are worthy to have and be all that you desire. And most importantly, to be worthy of love and to feel loved just the way you are. And in all the tapping techniques, the EFT, you'll see the most common word pattern is, I deeply and completely love and accept myself just the way I am. So the reason that word pattern is used so much and so often in all of the modalities is because self-acceptance is the master key. Loving yourself heals shame. And shame is one of the original deviations for all genetic dysfunction as well as limiting emotions. So my name is Arttemis Kashain. Thank you for watching this video. It's almost been an hour. I invite you to get some coaching with me. Let's dive in and transform some of your genetic patterns. And until then, I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.